Yes.
DeMarco.
Yes, sir. Okay, we're back. What's up, everybody? Thank you for being here. Please click thumbs up on the stream.
Thumbs up the team.
I'm streaming earlier tonight because I want to go see my nieces later. I miss them. And I'm just going to update this dono goal here. I forgot to do that before we started. I'm scheduled to speak on a panel at this year's MLM conference. It is not for MLMs. It is for advocacy around MLMs. They've done it for the past couple years virtually now. And there have been authors, lawyers, scholars, academics, members of the FTC, regulators from around the world, anti-MLM creators and advocates who have spoke at it. And as far as I know, it's only been around for the last couple years. I think 2020 was the first one, or maybe 2021. I'm not sure. But I'm scheduled to speak on it this year, which I'm very excited about. I'm getting a chance to actually address regulators directly with my own voice, and I'm going to have a captive audience to be able to speak to them. And so this, like I mentioned, it's been virtual, but this year they are doing an in-person conference, at least for part of it. And I really would like to go to be there in person. I think being able to talk to these regulators in person and get to meet people who I've looked up to for a long time in this anti-MLM space, I think that would be a really beautiful thing. So the donor goal has been updated to this is basically the fund for me to get out there to Washington, D.C. It's on the East Coast. I will be responsible for a flight, hotel, food, etc., Uber, whatever. And I live on the West Coast in Canada. So it's like, it's going to be a bag. It's going to be a bag. So regardless, I will be present virtually, but I really do want to go in person. I think I could make a much bigger impact in person, and like being there in person and being able to talk to people after the fact and like get contact information could be really, really helpful for the future, not only of the anti-MLM thing, but just like the future of the content on this channel. Whereas in the virtual conference, people, they say their piece and then they log off, and there's not really you could make a public inquiry through their official email or whatever. But of course, it's just different. JT, Pocket Watch with JT, emailing you a collab idea I got. I love it. Thank you, JT. Appreciate that. I'll definitely check that. Thumbs up the stream, y'all.
Thumbs up the team.
And let's get right into it. I want to give a what up and a wagwan to Voldemorty, Alex, Dylan, Luffy the Goat, Misha, Ingrid, Meek, Dylan Honey. Sorry if I'm streaming too early for y'all. I don't know if people are still at work or what, but fuck it. This is when I'm doing it. Appreciate you, Ingrid. Yes, Jessie Lee. Jessie Lee's the queen. What up, NPaz? We need more from the bull. Bro, he has not posted anything. Dominic Izzo.
I'm not a loser.
He hasn't posted any videos on that MLM channel, so strange. I think so, Blake. Let's not jinx it. I hope the camera's fixed. The comeback is crazy. You deserve it, bro. Thank you, NPaz. I appreciate that. I'll be on your time zone for once. Yeah. What up, Mo? Abu Sherab. Okay. Panda, what up? Sound Lab, I digress. Gloria, what up, Gloria? Long time no see, Gloria. Appreciate you, Gloria, the queen. Okay, thumbs up the stream. Basically, here's the background of what's been going on behind the scenes these past couple days. So, there is a gentleman who, let me get my facts straight. Let me see, did he email me, or did he DM me first, or did I DM him? Let me find out right now. I believe he DM'd me first. One of my viewers alerted me to his existence. Here we go. I messaged him first. This is on Monday, so this has been going on almost a week now. Monday, I messaged this gentleman who you saw in the thumbnail. His name's McKenzie. And I said, I'd be happy to explain to you why MLMs are scams live on IG or YouTube, so you can't claim I edited it in any way. He says, hey, brother, nice to meet you. I don't think anyone disputes that MLMs are scams. Interesting. I know for a fact this guy is in World Financial Group, and yet here he is claiming that he doesn't think anyone disputes that MLMs are scams. So he thinks MLMs are scams. And the ultimate irony is obviously that WFG is an MLM. So how do you rectify those two? How do you reconcile those two? And the first thing that came to my mind was, yesterday actually, I was reading a page in Freedom of Mind, the book by Steve Hassan, which is about cults and how they take over people's minds and how you can help try to get somebody out of a cult. And in the chapter that I'm reading where it talks about cult tactics that they use to brainwash people, it talks about this idea of dissonance, cognitive dissonance, where people who are trapped in these cults, people who are brainwashed by these cults, are able to use like double speak and new speak and double think and double speak and whatever. And they're able to believe, able to hold two ideas that are opposing in their head at the same time. And they are able to like delude themselves from the reality of what they are doing, but still be able to pick up on it when other people are doing it. Prime example, this guy saying MLMs are totally scams, but being in an MLM himself and not seeing it. It reminds me of back when I put out my first video about WFG in 2019, there was a girl who I knew where I live who was in Monat. She's still in Monat, okay? She was such a huge supporter of the video when I put it out. Oh yeah, Marco, you're exposing these pyramid scheme guys. Haha, I showed everybody in my family you're doing awesome work. And I'm like confused because from my point of view, from my rational, logical thinking point of view, she is doing the exact same thing in Monat. Also, you guys remember Justin from my ACN video? Justin had seen my WFG video at the time he invited me to the penthouse meeting for ACN, the Nathan penthouse presentation. He had already seen my WFG video. And yet here he is inviting me to a presentation to present me another MLM, and doesn't get it. There was even a guy in that presentation, in that meeting, right before the meeting started, came up to me and was like, yo, Marco, I saw your video, WFG. And I was like, shh. Because I was like, I thought he's going to blow my cover as I'm trying to record the ACN video. And thank God he didn't. That's my biggest video. But that guy who was witnessing the presentation didn't seem to get that it was the exact same thing. You know, NPAS says, same reason why people keep smoking even though it's bad for them. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things like that. Like there's people who will, there's dissonance that exists in every sub-community or every I don't know, community, right? Like there are people who are vegan because it's better for their health, but they still do drugs and live very unhealthy in other ways. You know what I mean? So this gentleman, that's how our conversation started. And that led to us going back and forth for the next 4 days up until today. And one of the things I said to him was, after he said, I don't think anyone disputes that MLMs are scams, my immediate response was, you'd be surprised. I also know that WFG is an MLM, operating nearly identically to PHP or Primerica in terms of its structure and recruitment-heavy philosophy. He says, similar but different. I say, okay. So you don't think WFG is a multi-level marketing company where bonuses and commission percentages are dictated based on how many people are under you and subsequently under them? And of course, instead of giving me a simple answer, he dodges and dives and says, that depends. I think we need to dive into that. 1, for context. 2, for definitions. This is a red flag to be aware of, okay? People in cults will try to change the definitions of words and have alternative facts or alternative definitions. Remember when, what was that woman who worked for Trump? And she said, President Trump merely stated alternative facts when Trump was proved wrong about something. She said, oh, he didn't lie. He just presented alternative facts. In Freedom of Mind, it talks about how people in cults will get to a point where they are so used to manipulating and twisting the English language that they begin to speak in cliches that only they really understand the meaning of, but to everyone else, they sound like totally rational phrases. So he says this, people often do this. They point to a cat and a dog and they say they are the same. 4 legs, a tail, a head, floppy ears, so therefore they are the same. Things can be similar, but not the same. So that was his non-answer using a clever sounding cliche. That was his non-answer to get back to respond to my question, which was a very crystal clear, straightforward. I said, you don't think WFG is an MLM company where bonuses and commission percentages are dictated based on how many people are under you and subsequently under them? That's a very crystal clear, specific question. He didn't address anything about the bonuses or the commission percentages or the structure or anything. He simply said cats and dogs aren't the same, although they have similar describing traits. Do you see how now we're already getting into the weeds of like trying to just throw someone off of having a logical, direct conversation, and now we're just talking in riddles and trying to confuse. He's trying to confuse me. He said, do you mind if I ask you a couple questions for context and I'll come back to answering this question? Spoiler alert, he never came back to answering that question. I said, LOL, that's clever. I've never heard that one, and I've heard a lot of pseudo-wisdom, clever-sounding analogies, and false equivalences. Are we doing this live? I'd rather not waste our time going back and forth in DM. It's my position that WFG is a thinly veiled pyramid scheme. And I don't know, I'll slap myself on the wrist for this. I told him crystal fucking clear that I didn't want to go back and forth on Instagram, and I would just like to do this live. And, of course, I fell into the trap of still going back and forth with him and entertaining his false equivalences when he asks me, in real estate, do you consider them MLM companies where bonuses and commission, blah, blah, blah. He made the real estate analogy. He said the cats and dogs thing. Never did he ever actually talk about any of my questions or address any of my issues. He says, no one in insurance or financial services makes money unless a real product is sold, either insurance or a financial services product. Have you looked at the retention and income rate of realtors? 99% of realtors fail. Again, another false equivalence. Well, something else has a high turnover rate or a high failure rate. So that must mean the thing I'm doing isn't a scam, as though two things couldn't be a scam, or as though the volatility of one industry somehow purifies another industry. And also that is just simply untrue. 99% of realtors don't fail. The statistic I found was that it's 87% of realtors fail. And I explained this is partially due to fluctuating market volatility, and it also does depend on the work of the individual realtor. In MLMs, you're predetermined to lose. I have a whole video explaining on my channel using math, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, then he goes, well, you made up 99% for insurance and financial services. I said, no, I didn't. I said 99% for MLM, and that's true. And again, he doesn't answer or address that. He just says, he goes back to the realtor thing. So 87% lose money. But WFG and PHP and Primerica are insurance industries. I said, they're not insurance industries. Those are MLM companies that use insurance as its product to disguise themselves. Just like Monat is an MLM company that uses shampoo and skincare to hide itself. Or Prove It, the Jesse Lee Ward company, is a company that sells like supplements and ketones to disguise its recruiting heavy business structure. Business, it's not even a business structure. Anyways, we go back and forth like this for the next couple days, and he basically wanted to, it seemed like he was going to do the debate, okay? He sends me back a numerical list of different items to cover in the debate, different topics to go over. I agreed to all of them. Thank you for reminding me. Kelly Ann Conway. Yes, that's the woman. I can't eat pork. I'm Muslim. Now where's the fireball? Actual quote from a girl I knew. Yeah, that's another thing too. People in Islam, they, will be upset if they eat pork, but a lot of them drink and have premarital sex and do other haram things, So, anywho, yes, also NPAS. Facts are indisputable. There's no such thing as alternative facts. It's what that is called bullshit. Totally. So bananas are green before they ripen. Bars. Panda says, the answer for all these is so simple. No real job besides headhunting makes you recruit people. Yep. It sounds like someone who's uncomfortable and is desperately trying to hold on to his belief. People do this when their core beliefs are shaken. It sounds like underlying security to me. I agree. And also there's a quote I read that was really fucking bars.
Bars.
And it said, you can't make a man understand something when his income is dependent on him not understanding it. And that's exactly the case. And you know what? I think sometimes I give these MLM pushers too much credit and too much empathy because I default to the belief that everyone in an MLM is simply brainwashed and has been misguided and convinced of the wrong things. And sometimes, in this case, I'm switching my position a little bit because there's also the other constituents of MLMs who are the people who actually know what they're doing and they just simply won't admit it because they like the money too much. And I think that this dude McKensy is one of those people because he has full YouTube videos. He has a 3-part series on his channel called MLM Cult Insurance Inside the Belly of the Beast Part 1. And in the description it says MLMs, cults, scams, and pyramid schemes inside of the financial and services and insurance world. What is really going on? Bro, this is a guy who is in World Financial Group. So, some people had, when we were talking about Dominic Izzo 2 weeks ago, some people were correcting me saying, Marco, you keep saying that Dominic is so close to understanding. He's so close. But he's not actually so close. He is willingly and purposefully denying the truth and dodging reality and dodging logic so that he doesn't have to admit what he is doing. Because to admit what's going on, you would be complicit in perpetuating the scam. If you were to realize or admit that it's a scam, you would, you'd be basically admitting that you were complicit in it for so long. Sorry. MN says, WFG isn't for lazy people. It's the real deal, not a scam. Hey, man, if you would like to have a logical, rational, respectful conversation about your views and versus my views, I invite you to join this live stream right now. If you are willing, I will post a Zoom link and I will let you join and we can discuss, or you can join my Discord or add me on Discord and we can do it on Discord, and I will patch you into my entire audience and I'll leave this stream posted after the fact so you can explain to me what I've got wrong. You can explain why the thinking that my entire channel and all of its content is based on is incorrect. And if you prove to me that it's incorrect, I'll delete all of my videos talking bad about MLMs. And this is an offer that no one has taken up. Andrew says that McKenzie, the guy we're talking about, told him that school failed him and doesn't know the difference between facts and opinions. Yeah, okay. So anyways, it appeared, let's get to it. It appeared that McKenzie, this gentleman, was going to do the debate with me, and he wrote out a list of things that we were going to discuss. I agreed to them, and I said, let's go. Then he goes, okay, let me send you over a contract. Let me send you over a contract so we can both agree on that. I said, a contract? If we are both two adult grown men agreeing to have a respectful conversation about our differences and to not like end up throwing insults at each other and, missing the point and casting pejoratives and da-da-da-da-da. I mean, isn't the DM from me, like, couldn't you just screenshot the DM? Like, isn't that enough? Like, what more do you need? Like, why do you need me to, you don't need me to sign a fucking contract. If we've made an agreement, if we're two grown-ass men who have made a fucking agreement, we don't need a contract. Regardless, he sent me a contract. And let's check out this contract that McKenzie sent me right now. Okay, so here, you cannot make this shit up, bro. A grown man. So he sends me this contract. He says, hey, brother, just wanted to lay out a quick gentleman's contract. I don't think we need to do a whole contract for a simple live video. However, I did want to lay out some groundwork and come to an agreement with you on how we handle Fridays live on YouTube. My intention is for us to be able to have a convo that is respectful and civil. I also want to make sure we're able to come to some sort of agreement by the end, if possible. My thoughts on being able to achieve this is for it to be very structured in our conversation. So far, I'm like, great. This sounds great. Then he says, we'll walk through the 9 items you listed as the things that make up a pyramid scheme. I matched it up with the 5 red flags, 5 casual and defining characteristics of product-based pyramid schemes or recruiting MLMs by John Taylor. John Taylor, rest in peace, is also the gentleman who wrote the 2011 Consumer Awareness Institute report on MLMs, the ones that say you have better chances of playing roulette, gambling, etc., 99.6% loss rate, etc. he says, I apologize for shifting the order last day, but it seemed important to have John and yours grouped together. I think it's important. I think it's going to be most advantageous to start with number one and go item by item, not moving on till we have come to an agreement on that line. This, I think, will help us from bringing up unrelated items or talking in circles. Sounds great. The only concern is that we run out of time. We may have to go from 60 minutes to 90 minutes. I'm like, sounds great. I was planning on an hour, but that may not be enough time for all 9. I totally agree. He said, this is going to be great. I'm excited to learn a lot of your perspective and what people understand about the insurance and financial services industry and how you compare it to pyramid schemes. Now, at this point, and as indicated by our prior conversation, I sensed that what McKenzie was going to try to do, had this debate ended up happening, was he was going to try to redirect and claim that he won the debate simply by saying that what I was discussing, which is MLM, is not what he does at all. And he's going to try to twist it to say, so Marco, you're saying that the insurance industry is an MLM. Well, that's obviously not true, so I win. Do you get what I mean? He kept holding on in the DMs. He kept holding on, and as you see in this contract, he keeps clinging to this idea that he's not in an MLM. He's just in the insurance industry. That is not true. So you can see how through his own reality, through his eyes, he's already won the debate before it's even happened, because we would be disputing something, rather he would be disputing something that I'm actually not talking about at all. The delusion, okay? So let's finish up the contract. Now this is where it gets really fucked. If you have any objections or want to change the simple gentleman's agreement, please let me know in your writing at your earliest convenience. Then he goes, here's the discussion list. Okay, recruiting in an endless chain. Advancement in hierarchy is recruited by achievement rather than appointment. Pay to play. The company pays more than 5 levels of distributors. Inadequate incentive to sell products directly and excessive incentive to recruit. This is the John Taylor definitions of MLM. Thank you, Blake Cavaney. Sounds like he wanted to filibuster your debate. Absolutely, he did. Marco's additional list. This is more of a cult element. Failure is not the individual's fault. Brainwashing, false income claims, markup on products to compensate pyramid structure. So he lays out a format. I totally agree with this format. 5 to 10 minute intro for me, 5 to 10 minute intro for him, presenting topics, going through the points, 5 minutes, overall assessment, concessions, final thoughts, boom. Now, he adds this little bit at the end here that says, offer. I agree with this discussion list and format. I'll be respectful and refrain from name calling. I will not cause harm by bearing false witness. I will not claim or insinuate wrongdoing without proper evidence. Proper evidence does not include hearsay, opinions, other people's opinions, written or verbal, use of outside resources not from authority, who's to decide what authority is, false statements purported to be fact. Now, regarding opinions, hearsay, and false statements purported to be fact, the testimonies of the thousands of people who have commented on my videos over the past few years, or more recently, the people who have appeared on my multi-level misery series, who have given their testimonies on what their MLM experience was like, obviously, I'm sure would be considered by McKenzie as hearsay. Same thing as opinion. You know, if I was to say that something is unethical, he could say that's my opinion. So last bit is, and this is, I mean, look, if this had been the only like part of the contract, I would have even signed it if it just put his mind at ease. Even though I don't believe there's a need for us to sign a contract to do a fucking YouTube stream. But I would have even signed it if it ended there. Here's where I realized that this contract was full of shit, in my opinion. Consideration. First offense, to be called out publicly at the time of occurrence. Second offense, to be called out publicly at time of occurrence. Third offense, to be called out publicly at time of occurrence. Meaning, if one of us was to do one of these things on this list here, one of these, not so gentlemanly things, this would be the course of action. The third offense is to be called out publicly at the time of occurrence, and the speaker can opt to end the call, reasonable, demand rights to the pictures, audio, and video. Well, that's not so simple, because if we're doing the stream on my channel, it's technically mine, so that would be up to you to use YouTube's reporting tools to get it taken down. And also, I'm a reasonable person. I would take it down if you wanted me to. C, demand pictures, videos, and audio gets removed. Okay, fine. Demand pictures and audio and video be discarded. Okay, fine. If offender refuses to remove materials or allows the materials to leak, they are subject to defamation lawsuit that's appropriate.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending.
So you want me to sign a contract that says, okay, I consent to you suing me if you feel that I have used opinions or hearsay or facts that did not constitute as the authority sources. Do you think I'm a fucking idiot? Do you think I am a fucking idiot? And I even told him, you realize that even if I signed this, it would still be up to either party, you or me, to, if we wanted to sue the other. This contract means nothing. It would still be up to each of us independently to hire a lawyer, file a lawsuit against the other person, see if it stands up in court, etc., etc. And this contract literally changes nothing. So this is not even a legally binding agreement, okay? Anywho, this is the person I'm dealing with. So I told him, I said, look, I'm cool with that, except you got to take out the part that talks about the, you got to take out the lawsuit shit. Like, I'll agree to those terms just on a handshake. If this is just a gentleman's agreement, as you claim, then we don't need to have legal, legal conditions in it. If it's just a gentleman's agreement. So let's be gentlemen and agree. And so he sends me an updated version, but it still includes that. And he said, yes, well, technically it's even if it's not on there, but I put it on blah, 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 just a notice that I would seek legal counsel if it were to happen. Bro, even if we didn't sign a contract, you could seek legal counsel. It makes no difference. Then he says, my goal is not to promote or speak about any particular company, but more so the industry as a whole. Once again, he is referring to the industry as the insurance industry, and I'm interested in speaking about the multi-level marketing industry. So it's clear that he's trying to just trap me in a hall of mirrors, essentially, where I am talking about multi-level marketing, and he comes back with every point and says, oh, but that's not insurance. And I go, yeah, we're not talking about insurance. We're talking about MLM. And he goes, but I'm not in MLM. I'm in insurance. You see how mind-numbingly frustrating it is trying to talk to these people, right? He says, if you Google any insurance company and pyramid scheme, you'll get people saying it is one. State Farm, Farmers, Nationwide, Transamerica, PHP. I believe there's a total confusion about the industry, not just a handful of companies. I said, all right, we can discuss all that tonight. I was just done going back and forth, trying to explain to him how the insurance industry and the MLM industry are not the same industry, and how you can use any product or service in an MLM format. It doesn't change the fact that it's an MLM. You could be selling protein shakes. Herbalife is an MLM. They sell the protein powder and, bars and shit like that, right? Monat is an MLM, and they sell shampoo and hair care. Or skincare, rather. WFG, PHP, Primerica, those are MLMs that use financial services. It doesn't change the fact that they all... And you know what? Fuck all that. Check this out. The easiest way to rebut what he's saying is... Look. Ready? Insurance industry failure rate. Let's just use math. Fuck my opinion. It says the insurance industry, North American data, this is from CanadianUnderwriter.ca. North American data show that almost 1/4 of new insurance companies fail within their first 5 years, and 70% of failed insurers were less than 10 years old, meaning the company was less than 10 years old. Okay, so 70% within the first 5 years. 99% of people in MLM lose per year. That's a clear distinction, right? So all we would have to do to figure out whether Mr. McKenzie was in an MLM or in an insurance company was to look at the failure rate of his company, right? that failure rate would be 99%, which would be a clear indicator that he is not in the insurance industry where there's a 70% failure rate, but he's in the MLM industry where there's a 99% failure rate. It is so fucking obvious. But of course he won't admit it. So what I want to do is, how is it a legally binding agreement? Exactly. Basically, anything you say against his line of reasoning is not considered evidence. I showed him a UC Berkeley research study on WFG. He said it's all opinions. Jesus Christ. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to watch his video and react to it live with you. I haven't seen this. Called 5 Red Flags to Discover a Pyramid Scheme. PHP, WFG, KW, FFL, PFA, EXP, Real, Primerica. So he is going to explain to us, and I'm actually on the edge of my seat, excited to listen to a guy who is in an MLM company explain how to spot an MLM company while simultaneously believing he is not in one. This should be really fucking interesting, and the mental gymnastics, we should stretch our brains before this mental gymnastics. Wagwan Alex FPV. Make sure you guys thumbs up the stream. We got 120 people watching, but only 76 thumbs ups. Okay. So let's check it out. This is called, oh, by the way, he has a video, MLM Cult Insurance Inside the Belly of the Beast. And look at this comment, right? Look at this comment. This is Andrew, who's in the chat right now. He says, if you have to say it's not a pyramid scheme, it's a pyramid scheme. And McKenzie replies and says, you're a rapist. Prove you're not. If you claim you're not, you are. I see your logic there. Nice work, trickster. Again, it seems on the surface like a reasonable analogy, like a reasonable comparison. Well, people say that if I have to say that I'm not a pyramid scheme, I am a pyramid scheme. How is that any different than saying if you have to say you're not a rapist, then you are a rapist? And to a person who doesn't really have great critical thinking skills, this may actually stump them and make them go, oh, you know what? Okay, yeah, I guess. Except MLMs don't typically defend against the pyramid scheme claim until people say it. Sorry. MLMs don't have to defend against the pyramid scheme claim just when someone says it. MLMs introduce themselves to you by saying we are not a pyramid scheme. WFG, remember my earliest video in the meeting, they said, no, it's not a pyramid. In my meeting with Hartage. ACN, my video where I'm at the presentation with Nathan in his penthouse. He says, everybody says this is a pyramid scheme. Let's address that. Nobody asked about it. Nobody even brought it up. They just come out and say it because they know you're going to Google that and find it out later. So really, what McKenzie's response here should say is, he's stating it from a person saying, quote, you're a rapist, prove you're not. That's not what's happening in MLM. In MLM, they're going, hey, my name is such and such company. Just so you know, we're not a pyramid scheme before anyone even says it to them. So if you wanted to make our rapist equivalent, that would be like you meet somebody for the first time. They go, hey, my name is John. By the way, I'm totally not a rapist. That's different than somebody going, you're a rapist, prove you're not. Also, when it comes to either of those accusations, accusing someone of being a rapist or accusing somebody of a company of being a pyramid scheme, those are not generally things that people just throw out there willy-nilly, okay? McDonald's, Apple, Nike, these are not companies that are getting accused of being a pyramid scheme on a daily basis. They don't have to defend against it, okay? Their business model, all their documents and shit like that, it's public information. It's not a debate. The only reason that it's a debate when it comes to MLM companies is because MLM companies are so trained and so well versed when it comes to trying to confuse you and twist up the language and twist up your words and throw these false like analogies and riddles back at you to confuse you. A key example is the comment. If you have to say it's a pyramid scheme, it's not a pyramid scheme, it's a pyramid scheme. Great point. You're a rapist, prove you're not. If you claim you're not, you are. Twisting it, you know? So, you know, there are people out there who make false accusations towards people. There are people out there who make false accusations towards companies, but generally that's not what happens. Generally, people don't just go accusing things of being pyramid schemes, and generally people don't just run around saying that so-and-so is a rapist. Generally, that doesn't happen. So for McKenzie to use this as his defense is yet another false equivalence. And again, Andrew in the chat says, legitimate companies aren't being accused of being MLMs. Exactly. Brian O'Brien, yes, I do believe Patrick Bet-David did sell PHP, and it doesn't change the fact that when Patrick Bet-David was running it, I don't know about present day, but when Patrick Bet-David was running it, it was a multi-level marketing company, and I imagine that it's still the same. You know, they make a lot of money. Why would you change it? That's the fact that he made that stupid comparison instead of making a logical argument proves Andrew's point. Yeah, I'm a good guy. A speech on how to spot a pedophile given by a pedophile type logic. Thank you. I seen a sign at McDonald's saying they were hiring. Fuck, I just clicked away from the stream. I seen a sign at McDonald's saying they were hiring versus this stranger cornered me at the mall and tried to get me to join their business. Exactly. There's so many red flags, but yeah. Also, why choose rapist as your example? That's sus to start with. Totally. Morgan, what up? Hi, Marco. Your eyebrows and hair look nice today. Hope you're having a good day. Thank you, Morgan. I appreciate that, Morgan. I like that very artistic black and white picture. I can't really see it because it's so far away. But also, my hair is at an awkward length because I'm growing it back out. But once we get that fade going and we'll be blessed. We'll be blessed. What up, Kiva? Appreciate you for watching, Kiva. And appreciate you guys clicking thumbs up on the stream.
Thumbs up the team.
There's 128 watching and only 92 likes. You know, while we're live, it helps. So, all right, let's watch 5 red flags to discover a pyramid scheme by McKenzie Long. I cannot wait to see what he has to say.
Hey, what's going on, guys? McKenzie Long here. So I got a copy of the 5 red flags to determine if something is a multi-level marketing company or a pyramid scheme, and I want to share it with you. And the reason why I think this is going to be important for you is you are probably getting recruited into one of these industries and would like to know if it's actually a multi-level marketing company or if it's not. Maybe that's on the insurance.
By the way, I hate to interrupt right after I just started, but can I just show you something that really made me feel uncomfortable? Just real quick. This is his Instagram page, okay? And he has these, you know, posts on it with the captions, you know, like typical financial influencer type thing. And look at the first one. Sorry, I have to unmute.
Which of these 6 areas? Have you ever noticed people that are overweight always say they don't eat much? Have you ever noticed that? What are you trying to say? I'm just like, hey, why you look at me when you say that? Because you guys started laughing. I didn't look at you and then said it. I said it and you laughed, so I looked at you. It was different.
I just noticed that my smile went upside down, got a little frustrated, going like, hey.
Yeah. It's always people way overspending that never spend any money, right? It's I just put it.
I mean, first of all, not a very gentlemanly thing to say, in my opinion. I mean, look at the hashtags. Business, entrepreneur, success, leadership, mindset, associations, golden retriever, thankful, humble, blessed, love, maxed out, badass, boss lady. And also, I love how he just straight up gaslights whoever was sitting there that he was talking to right to his face. The person in the audience, you see, they say, why did you look at me when you said that? And McKenzie says, I didn't look at you and then, sorry. He says, I didn't look at you as I said it. You started laughing and then I looked at you. That's literally not true. We can just watch it again and see. Ready?
Which of these, have you ever noticed people that are overweight always say they don't eat much?
He's looking in that direction at that person before he even says the thing. Watch again.
Well, which of these, have you ever noticed people that are overweight always say they don't eat much? Have you ever
As soon as he says the word overweight,
Which
he's
of-
looking over there.
you ever noticed people that are overweight always say they don't eat much? Have you ever noticed that? What are you trying to say?
I don't see what is funny about it, and I don't see what this has to do with business.
Well, which of these 6 areas are...
I met a few several supers who
As long as it's swiped, my budget was good. That's the extent of my... But
I mean, again, this is not what actual insurance salespeople do. Since the word has been spreading that I'm working on this Primerica video, I've had several legitimate people in the insurance industry reach out to me to try to prepare me in advance for some of the false equivalences and scummy tactics that people in MLM use when they claim, like McKensy, that they claim that they're actually just in the insurance industry. And I've been having conversations with these professionals who are actually educating me a bit on what is term life insurance, what is indexed universal life insurance, what the typical practices of an insurance industry are, insurance company, how their salesmen are compensated, salespeople are compensated, and because they're trying to prepare me for all of these nonsense arguments that I'm inevitably going to receive, which are like, oh, but we're the same. We're just the insurance industry. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. When this is not the case. Sorry. Just opening my window here. Okay. It was so awkward. Why hashtag golden retriever? Is he going to pull an Anmol and show his cars? Wow, shout out to Anmol. That office is so unused. It's a movie set. Thank you, Alex, for saying that. You actually beat me to it. Look at this office. It reminds me, you know what it reminds me of, dude? Where is it? It reminds me of this. It reminds me of Hartage's office. This is not a real office. This is a movie set. No actual business is getting done here. Where's the computer? Where's the office supplies? This is literally, I've said it before in my videos. These people who join MLM companies and start dressing up in a suit and start feeling an air of legitimacy because they went and got a license to be able to sell insurance, which, mind you, anyone can buy. It doesn't make you a businessman. Business, commerce, means selling a product or service in exchange for money. Business is not sitting there clapping, calculating points, recruiting people, going to Starbucks, going to Walmart, trying to talk to people, act like you're interested in them, spew motivational quotes. That's not business, okay? This is not a real office. This whole thing, it's dress up, okay? It is wrestling. It's just people dressing up as I've said it in my videos before. It feels like a little kid dressing up in his dad's business suit when his dad isn't home. That's how it feels. Sure, the clothes fit, but there's just an air of inauthenticity about it, and it's especially observable when the people who claim to be these legitimate businessmen do nothing but flex. Real business people don't do that. You've never seen Bill Gates or Warren Buffett wearing a fucking iced out rollie, posting a selfie on their jet. They just don't do that. People with real business acumen, with real poise, with real professionalism, do not gallivant about on Instagram the way these people do. And that's because it's not real fucking business. What up, Diana? Glad you're here. Shave my head again. Silica Valley says, ugh, so tired. I've been wandering grocery store aisles all night for the past 3 months. Oh, I'm sorry to hear. Hoping someone approaches me so I can finally start my own business, right? Andrew says, I found this guy because he is an alumni at my high school. Damn. Golden Retriever. He's the villain that talks too much about his plan, giving the hero enough time to escape. Yep. The way he drank his water was sus. What up, Ivan? What up, Pancho? No work has taken place there. Not at all. Not even paper in the printer. Dude just put a desk in his closet. He poses like he's a legitimate financial advisor from insurance investments, yet has so much time to spam. That's another thing I thought of too, was after the first day and I messaged him, after we had gone back and forth on Instagram DM for about an hour, he messaged me saying like, I don't have time for this. I'm like, bro, you just spent an hour DMing a random guy on YouTube who is not even a potential customer or prospect of yours. You got time, bro. This is all y'all do. Thumbs up the ting, by the way.
Thumbs up the ting.
Andrew says his LinkedIn says he advises securities, but I searched him up on FINRA and he doesn't even have a license, you know. MLM versus real business is like WWE versus UFC. That's a fucking bar, JT.
Bars.
People who have a reason to be on a private jet are too busy to flex, yeah? Also, can I ask y'all a question? Where are the Forex bros and gal who said that they are going to be millionaires by this time last year? All of you Forex people owe me a fucking apology. You guys all owe me an apology in a huge way. In a huge way. All of you who are in my DM saying I'm a hater, I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm just doing this so that I can get views on my YouTube. Every person who was talking about whatever crypto and whatever Forex pair back in 2021, you all owe me your fucking life. Where are you guys? Do any of you guys know? I'm sure you guys had people that you followed on Instagram who were in Forex, okay, without getting too specific. I'm sure you guys know people who were in Forex, right? What does their Instagram look like today? Did they delete it? Are they private? Are they a realtor now? Did they completely act like it never happened? It's one of those. You know what it's not? You know what none of them are? Actually rich. Businesses walking 15K on the roadside, then sleeping on the beach in Colombia. Totally. I'm moving around right now. I ain't even on that type of time. You should look up Forex, and Forex trading is legit. I know. But all the people who were posting about Forex were not trading Forex. They were in Forex MLMs. And even the people who were just trading Forex had such an overestimation of how successful they were going to be. And I don't think any of them actually took the time to search the actual success rates of people who trade Forex for a living. It's very, very low. So, again, I don't think any of them are rich. I had a Forex buddy who said he could have been rich, but didn't want to keep waking up early for the trading hours. Shut up. All right, let's watch McKenzie Long, a guy who's been in World Financial Group for 9 years, try to explain how to spot a pyramid scheme.
Side, maybe it's on the real estate side, or maybe it's in some other type of business. Let's go through these together. And if you don't know me, my name is McKenzie Long. Again, I've been an entrepreneur for the last 12 years. The last 8 of those, I've spent teaching people how money works. It's something that's not taught in schools, meaning most people are financially illiterate, meaning they make lots of mistakes when it comes to money, and they're oftentimes being taken advantage of. And obviously, financial literacy is a huge problem in our society, and when you're solving big problems, there's lots of opportunity and lots of money to be made. And now, having been in the industry for quite a while, recruiting hundreds of agents and thousands of clients and students who are working on better their lives financially and through business, there's a lot of things that I've seen and experienced that I would like to share with you, especially around this topic today of the red flags of determining if something's a multi-level marketing company, because unfortunately, there's lots of information out there. However, most of it is entirely inaccurate. So I want to give you the actual definitions. And this is by John M. Taylor, who is the president of Consumer Awareness Institute. And he is also the advisor on pyramid schemes. So this guy knows what he's talking about. He's basically the one that's written the book on this stuff. So I want to give you his exact definition.
Here's Andrew in the comments saying, why do you work for one? on the left here. And McKenzie says, did you watch the video? And look, they go back 24 different replies. It's like, bro, this is, again, if you're a legit businessman, you don't have time for this.
And I won't include specific companies. However, I will mention names through the process. So maybe you'll relate to those. Maybe you're being recruited by somebody. In this way, you can make an educated decision if it is actually a multi-level marketing or a pyramid scheme, or if it's just a different structure than what you're used to. Now, this is a report for consumers, regulators, and legislators. So this is basically what everybody's going off of to determine if these companies are legitimate or not.
Alex says this is a tactic. He's saying true things in the intro. Yep, I agree. He is saying true things thus far. John Taylor is legit. Consumer Awareness Institute is legit.
So I think you would get a lot of wisdom from figuring out what they're looking for so that you can find out if it's an emotional based thing that you read online about somebody who had a bad experience with a company, or whether it's legitimately a thing
LOL Panda.
that you need to look at and consider. And so as we go through these 5 red flags of a multi-level marketing or pyramid scheme, we're going to read these together. I'm going to put each of them on the screen so you can see exactly what.
I agree, Morgan. I agree. He's well spoken. Unfortunately, has probably tricked tons of people. Perfect finance bro disguise. That's what's so clever about World Financial Group, Primerica, PHP, is these companies, again, this is all my opinion. These companies, because you do have to get licensed to sell the products that are part of their MLM structure, it makes it look more legitimate. That's why in my first World Financial Group video, Harteja's brother was saying, we're a regulated business. And everyone in the comments that was pro WFG was saying, it can't be a pyramid scheme. We're a regulated business. Let me remind you, everybody, Bernie Madoff had a list of accolades and professional titles and accreditations as long as your arm. Most notably was probably that he was the chairman of the NASDAQ, which is about the biggest decoration that one could have attached to their name in the financial world. And guess what? He ran the biggest Ponzi scheme in human history. Y'all remember Elizabeth Holmes, the bitch who claimed to have invented the Theranos machine that you could prick your finger and from one drop of blood do like hundreds of tests? And she was called a genius, and she was on the cover of Fortune magazine, and she was gonna revolutionize the healthcare world. Turned out to be a fraud. Y'all remember Sam Bankman-Fried, who only a couple months ago was arrested, who had a whole fucking FTX arena, and Tom Brady and Larry David promoting the product, and Kevin O'Leary and countless other legitimate people. And he was supposedly revolutionizing finance, revolutionizing crypto, and that turned out to be a fraud. These are all things that happened within the last 10 years. Bernie Madoff is coming up on 12 years. But in my lifetime, these huge frauds in my lifetime. So I don't, there's no certification that anybody could hold up in front of my face for me to think that makes it not a scam. Any company is capable of fraud. Speaking of Bernie Madoff, the gentleman, Harry Markopolos, who was the whistleblower who discovered Bernie Madoff's fraud 10 years before anybody fucking did anything about it. He in the past couple of years, I say recently as in the past couple of years, talked about how GE, General Electric, he suspected them of having one of the biggest accounting frauds. And that was the big case that he was presenting, was GE doing fraudulent accounting. Any company is capable. So I don't care, bro. I really don't give a fuck, But again, not to stray from my point, the very clever thing about these companies like World Financial Group are that because you do have to get a license to sell insurance, and insurance is the product sold by the MLM, it appears more legitimate. Also, because you have to wear a suit, because we're at our office, we're doing business, it's the same thing as a Tupperware party back in the day that took place in some woman's living room where another woman would come over and they'd have these Tupperware parties, except instead of those women wearing just their regular clothes and doing it in somebody's living room, now, people like McKenzie, in my opinion, people like companies like WFG have just shifted the setting and the presentation. So now, instead of being a bunch of housewives wearing your regular clothes in a living room of your neighbor's house. Now you are a bunch of licensed insurance salesmen wearing suits in an office. It's just a set. It's all the same shit. It is just a set. It's not real. Thank you, by the way, Misha, for the dono. Your weekly residual plus stream grinding bonus. Thank you. Yeah. By the way, Susan, the CEO of YouTube, told me that if all of you guys click like on the stream, I get a residual bonus, and that she's gonna promote me to senior vice YouTuber.
What they said, and I've also attached down below the entire PDF so you can see exactly what they're looking for, the definitions, the words, the entire document, so you can clarify some of these things for yourself. Now, number one, let's read this together. First red flag is each person recruited is empowered and given incentives to recruit other participants who are empowered and motivated to recruit still other participants in an endless chain of empowered and motivated recruiters recruiting recruiters without regard to market saturation. And as we go through these red flags, I'm going to talk about 4 different industries and my opinion, but mostly I'm going to be asking you questions.
Totally, Leanne. Everyone knew Elizabeth Holmes was a fraud. Or everyone in science, as you say.
On whether you determine it to be a multi-level marketing company or not. So we're going to talk about the industry of multi-level marketing. We're also going to talk about insurance. We're going to talk about real estate, and then we're going to talk about business.
So these are the false equivalences he's going to try to give you to put a smoke screen in front of your logical thinking brain is what he's laying out here.
And I'm going to give some of my opinions on each, but mostly I'm going to allow you to make your decision. So obviously in multi-level marketing, one of the biggest challenges with it is this idea of recruiting and into the infinite. It's really not realistic. This is why most people have a challenge with the words multi-level marketing or with this type of industry, because you really have to recruit the world to be able to make money. Now, are there people who make really good money in that industry? Absolutely. There's plenty of people who make really good money in those. And so if you're in one of those or you're thinking about getting into one, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. You've just got to understand what your odds are of doing it.
Amazing. He says you have to recruit the world to make any money. You have to understand what your odds are. This is a guy who's in a company that he's describing right now.
So then let's get into insurance. Now, insurance, first and foremost, I want to just say, at least in my experience over the last 8 years of doing financial services,
LOL, the art of war up on the shelf. I didn't even notice that.
Both in insurance and helping people invest and save money, that it is definitely not oversaturated. In the vast majority of my career, very rarely do I run into somebody who already has these things put in place and or has all of them put in place. So I would say there's definitely not a saturation issue there. The next industry we're going to talk about is real estate. So now in real estate, I have to ask the question because obviously there are heavy recruiters. There's lots of people every year who get into the real estate industry. Now, for most real estate agents, you're going to be competing, at least from what my friends tell me in the industry, of 11 other agents. So you've really got to figure out a way to stand out and be special if you're going to be a real estate agent. So my question
That's true.
there would be, is this into saturation? That if there's one real estate agent basically for every home that's being sold, is that market saturation? I don't know. Now, obviously, there's a lot of real estate agents who don't sell homes, and there's often many times of real estate agents who sell lots of homes, and you can make very, very good money in that industry. So the teeter-totter here is going to be, do they start to fall into this because of their recruiting platform, and then also the saturation aspect? And so,
okay, here's the first thing. This is obviously, if there was one realtor for every home sold, that would be a big issue. That would be a saturation issue. In business, if you're selling a product or a thing, and I'm going to say what I'm about to say, and then I'm going to pretend that I'm a person in an MLM trying to debunk what I'm saying, and then I'm going to debunk that debunking. Okay, so follow me here. If you are actually selling a product or a service, let's say that business is going good. You're selling a lot of the product. So you hire another person to help you sell because you need to meet the demand, right? Or in the case of a franchise, which a lot of MLMs claim they're doing nothing different. They're just doing the same thing that a franchise does. McDonald's has so many locations. Are they an MLM? Because they have, there's a McDonald's on every street corner, but isn't that, okay? There is demand. Something like a McDonald's, which feeds 1 to 2% of the population in North America every single day, there is demand for it. Hence why there is that many McDonald's is. And when it comes to fast food, even this is an issue. If you open a McDonald's and another McDonald's opens up too close to you, or too close to you when there is not enough traffic in that area, it can hurt your bottom line. I believe they call it cannibalism in the fast food industry when there is too many, when there's a sister location too close. Gas stations, there's a similar thing. If you're a gas station, you're the only gas station on the block, that's good. But if another gas station opens up right next to you, maybe that's not so good, you know? Or maybe if you had lines going around the block every single day, it wouldn't really matter too much. It wouldn't really affect your bottom line too much. In MLM, however, you know, like I said, McDonald's feeds 1% to 2% of the population every day, so there's obviously a high demand for it. Direct sales, you buying something from another person, like you would on Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace, that accounts for less than 1% of all commerce done in North America per year. So there is no demand for it. So it behooves you to want to recruit more people who are going to sell the same thing as you, like in an MLM, when there is no demand. Think of Monat, right? In MLMs, in Monat, for example, they would claim that the reason that they don't do any advertising is because they would rather give the money that they would spend on advertising back to their distributors. But that's nonsense, because if your hair product was so popular, why wouldn't you want it to be in Walmart and Shoppers Drug Mart and Target? You'd make more money that way if your concern was to actually sell stuff. But their concern is not to sell stuff, which is why the sales that they get are generated by the people that are recruited. Monat doesn't even track its sales. It tracks its sales, meaning the stuff that one person sold to another person that they recruited. But after that happens, how does Monat know whether me, a random guy who bought a starter kit, how do they know whether I sold those bottles? They don't know. They don't know whether it's sitting in my garage or my bathroom or my spare room, or if I sold it out on the street. So they have no idea what the actual real world market demand is for their goods and services, which should be a clear indication that it is not actually a company that's concerned with selling stuff. Any business, if you guys watch I did an interview that came out yesterday with, on the channel True Crime with Matt Cox. This is a guy who used to be a scammer. He was a mortgage scammer. He did time. There's a whole soft white underbelly episode about him that has over 1 million views. I did an interview with him on his podcast, came out yesterday, and I explained to him, rather, I shouldn't say I explained to him, but we were discussing this whole MLM issue, and I said, Matt, any business, think any industry, Amazon, McDonald's, the dollar store, the gas station, doctor's office, any business you can think of, online, car dealership, anything, literally anything. If you could only track one piece of data related to your business, if you could only track one metric, it would be sales. Because sales is the root of everything. You need sales. Otherwise, you're dead. That's what a business is. A business is money in, okay? So in an MLM company, if you don't even know your sales, how could you be around so long? How could these companies, Herbalife, Amway, WFG, Primerica, how could these companies exist for decades and decades and decades when they don't even know their own sales? WFG is a great example. WFG doesn't sell its own products. WFG resells products from other insurance companies, like how ACN, in the ACN video, they said we're partners with Atco and TELUS and Shaw because you could talk to an ACN representative to buy a Shaw package. They were essentially a middleman, right? So that's Shaw's sale or TELUS's sale. It's not an ACN sale, right? They might have got a commission, but they're not tracking those sales. Those are not their sales. It's not their products. Do you get the point I'm making here? I know you do. How could they exist so long without knowing their sales? There must be another way to make money, right? What do you think that is? I leave it to you.
So I put it in yellow. And so obviously then coming into business, now businesses are regulated by the market, which I would say all of these kind of are, but obviously McDonald's is heavy on recruiting. They want to open up as many locations as possible. They want as many franchises to come in and purchase McDonald's so that they can operate in more areas. That's why they operate in most of the country. I think something like 2% of the population is what they actually feed on a daily basis. So that's obviously a huge marketplace. Some might say that restaurants are kind of saturated. There's lots of restaurants. There's lots of different places, especially if you live here in Vegas like I do. There's so many different choices to choose from, but typically we're going to say that it's not a saturated market because there's going to be differences amongst them. So as you can see here on this chart, red is going to be they fall into this category completely, which is obviously the multi-level marketing. Yellow.
Okay, so by his definition, multi-level marketing, recruiting regardless of market saturation. I agree with all those points. Those are the John Taylor points. Insurance, recruiting regardless of market saturation. Let's just see where he goes with this. Okay, let's just see.
In most or a lot of scenarios, they're not going to. I just kind of want to be fair in this analysis. And then obviously green.
King of the Hill MLM episode. That sounds like a good time.
Green is going to be they almost never fall into this category. And the second red flag, let's read this together. Advancement in a hierarchy of multiple levels of distributors is achieved by recruitment rather than by appointment. So basically, do you get advancement and
thumbs up the stream, y'all. We can get to 200 viewers if we do.
Or potential income increases if you recruit more and you incentivize them to recruit. So let's go into these 4 different business types again. So obviously in multi-level marketing, that's one of the big discouragements about it is that you make a lot more money. The people who are at the top generally have recruited lots and lots of people. Because of the product and service aspect of it, there's not a lot of markup on that. So you can't make a lot of money if you're just doing it by yourself. You've really got to recruit a whole lot of people making a little bit of money so that you can make a lot of money. Now let's get into the insurance world. A lot of
that's true.
times, especially if you're talking about the bigger recruiting agencies, let's talk about the PHPs and the PFAs and the WFGs and the Primericas. Now these guys obviously are heavy on recruiting. Part of that platform is going to be that as you recruit and you build an agency, your promotions are going to be based off of how big your agency is. And it's obviously also going to be based off of some of that income in generational overrides or running an agency. Even if you run a Farmers or a State Farm, to make more money, you need to have more people in your business or in your agency who are selling more products and services. However, in the insurance industry, even in those heavy recruiting companies, you can still make very good money even if you don't want to recruit people. And a lot of times,
yeah. And the reason for that, as has been explained to me by actual life insurance sales professionals recently, is that the typical commission payout, if you watch my most recent multi-level misery episode with Sam, who used to be in Primerica, he talks about how in Primerica, you start out at a very low percentage of commission for a sale. So let's say you sell a $1,000 policy. You might only be getting like 10% or 20% commission. So you're making $200, $100, $200. In an actual life insurance sales job, the stat that I read on Investopedia, as well as has been reconfirmed to me by several actual life insurance sales professionals over the past week, is that the lowest you could expect to make starting out selling life insurance is 30%, but usually it's between 50 and 90%. And in some cases, the policy issuer will actually give 100% of the first year's premium to the salesperson as a commission because they're going to make their money on the subsequent years when that beneficiary renews the policy again and again. So you could potentially be making $1,000 for a $1,000 life insurance sale. Pretty sick deal. In these companies, Primerica, a great example, you're not eligible to get a bigger commission until you have people under you, a team. So think about it. If a life insurance policy is $1,000, okay, and you're only getting 20% commission, $200, what kind of luck do you think you would have? How viable of a opportunity, full-time or part-time, how viable of an opportunity do you think it is to try and sell something that's very expensive to only make $200? You think you'd be able to make a full-time living from that? You think you'd be able to make $3,000, $4,000 a month doing that? Let's just do some quick math. If a life insurance policy, the first year is $1,000, right? and you only make $200 off of it, right? For you to make $4,000 in a month, you need to sell 20 policies, which means you would need to generate $20,000 in sales. If you are a good enough salesperson that you can generate $20,000 in sales of a product that is $1,000, you're probably the greatest salesperson this world has ever seen, and you need to be running your own company. And Lord knows, anybody else who owns a business, if you bring in $20,000 in revenue, your profit is going to be higher than $4,000. That's a really bad margin. 20%, that's a really bad margin, okay? So it's not a viable job, Primerica, WFG, it's not a viable job if you're actually just going to sell the product. Because that's what they all claim. Well, you could just sell the product. You don't have to recruit. But just from some quick calculation, we can see that the only way to actually support yourself or make even okay money is by recruiting. And in a real insurance job, this is not a part of it. In a real insurance job, you don't have to do this.
Sometimes their advancements will have other guidelines if you're a heavier producer than you are a recruiter. Now let's also look at real estate. So real estate operates very similar to the way the insurance world does. There's several ways that you can do it, where basically you can go get the licenses, become a broker, not have to recruit anybody, and just be a broker if you...
Exactly, Andrew. I want to read Andrew's comment here. He says, also, when WFG recruited/charged me $125, it was titled insurance payment. That's how they don't get caught. Regulatory agencies are unable to distinguish between recruiting fees and services. Exactly. And you know what? I'll even prove this right now. I have this already pulled up. Ready? World Financial Group. Yeah, you guys see? I get the fucking internal documents, okay? So World Financial Group compensation and advancement guidelines, right? So check this out. Obviously, so convoluted. None of this actually talks about sales and commissions. This is all about points and... You know, what the fuck is TPLIC, ranks, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I found this very interesting earlier today before I started the stream when I was looking at this. Let me find it. Where was it? It might have actually been on this one. Bear with me 1 second. It was on one of these documents. I have 3. It could have also been this WFG systems manual. Okay, the systems manual, this is very interesting. So this is an official WFG document, right? This talks about your business, your opportunity, your choice. Obviously, it's not your business, but continuing on. You would think that a company that claims to be in financial services, this entire manual would be about financial services, right? Nope. Look at the chapters. Prospecting, the approach, the presentation, the follow-up, the startup, duplication. They are not even trying to fucking hide this. So what I wanted to point out was it talks about how in order to rank up, you need, for example, you're going to join the 3-3-30, right? So you get 3 people, they get 3 people. You do that every 30 days. In my WFG video, they had the 5-5-30. You know, here's their pyramid drawing literally inside of their... Okay, here it is. This is it. They literally have a pyramid drawing inside of their own manual. Not very subtle. So look, here we go. The system flow. Leadership Factory, 3-3-30 club, right? So qualify for a 3-3-30 club. 3 recruits, 3 training sales in 30 days, right? Let me ask you this, because I think this maybe goes over people's heads. In order to rank up, right? In order to rank up or begin getting on the first rung of that ladder, okay, you need 3 recruits and 3 sales. Do you think it's a little bit of a coincidence that the amount of sales you need and the amount of recruits you need are the exact same number? Don't you think that implies that your first 3 sales are going to be to those 3 recruits? And when you sell to them, and you recruit them, now they count as a recruit, but they had to buy something when they joined, or they were pressured to buy something when they joined. Because if you don't believe in yourself, you know, if you don't even buy your own product that you're selling, how are you gonna blah blah blah? How are you gonna convince other people you don't believe in it? So everyone is pressured to purchase the product when they join an MLM. So this is how the MLM gets around saying, well, we didn't give someone a bonus just because they recruited. They made sales. But if you took away the obligation to buy the product when you joined, do you really think these companies would have any sales? These companies that don't do traditional advertising, they don't do social media advertising, they're not sold in Walmart, Target, etc. You really think that these products would sell? They're only alive because of internal consumption. Oh fuck, I didn't mean to close that. Okay, here, let's continue on.
You wanted to do that. You can basically buy your way into that promotion almost, if you will, or you can be an agent.
And Paz, you're right. The thing is, he's a very good speaker and would be able to quell the layperson's doubts with this video. Totally.
But there are also other platforms, maybe Keller Williams or EXP or Real Estate, where
Just the manual brings the people, buddy. Yep.
you can have that multi-level marketing aspect of it, where you can get higher promotions, you make more money.
It's not a pyramid. Pyramids don't have circles. Hilarious.
Based off of the number of people that you recruit. It basically allows you
WFG duplication glitch. Left, down, up, right, AB, AB, LB, RB. Hilarious.
to have a brokerage inside of a brokerage so that way you don't have to have all of the responsibility on yourself to go open up a brokerage. So since that's almost exactly identical to the way that insurance oftentimes does it on those recruiting sites, I put both of those in yellow, and that sometimes they can fall into those categories, sometimes they don't. So does a business get more promotions or increase basically their income based off more people that they recruit? And I would say kind of yes in a roundabout way, right? Like the more McDonald's franchises you own and the more people you recruit to run those franchises, the more money you're gonna make, because you're gonna make a particular
McDonald's employees don't have to pay to join when they work at McDonald's. McDonald's employees get paid for the amount of hours that their body is inside of the McDonald's. McDonald's employees do not have their pay dictated based on how many other McDonald's employees that they got under them. McDonald's employees are not promised that they are going to be able to earn a Lamborghini and go on lavish trips upon being hired. McDonald's employees are not being prospected by the McDonald's staff at Walmart and Target and Starbucks on random fucking days. They have to apply and prove themselves with a resume to be the best person for the job and show their qualifications. Unlike MLM, where they are constantly badgering other people to join. Did I fucking miss anything? Did I miss anything?
amount per location, obviously depending on where it's at. But if you want to make more money, you need to open up more locations. If Elon Musk wants to make more money, he needs to sell more cars, so he's got to open up more factories.
False equivalence. The reason Elon Musk is opening up more factories is because there is so much demand for the cars that they need to produce more. They are not recruiting more Tesla salespeople when nobody actually wants a Tesla. People joining Tesla don't have to buy a Tesla in order to get a job at Tesla. Same reasons I said before.
But that's kind of outside of the whole MLM realm, so we're going to mark that one green. One note that I do want to make here is that if you go to page 9, something that John talks about that I want to make sure I point out. And if you look where it says, does unlimited recruiting doom participants to failure? It is not the recruiting per se that creates the problems, as recruiting is essential to many businesses, sales and executive recruitment. But unlimited recruiting of participants, recruiters, each of whom is empowered and given incentives to recruit other recruiters, who are empowered to recruit still other recruiters, etc., in an endless chain, inevitably dooms the majority of participants to failure and loss. This is not true of insurance agencies, direct sales, and other legitimate businesses.
Here's where he's going to try and say, okay, see guys, that's why WFG isn't an endless chain recruiting model, because we're actually an insurance company. Dun, da, da, da. Wrong. You're not an insurance company just because you sell insurance. As WFG proves with every new recruit that it gets off the street who's 18 years old, like my best friend from high school who was recruited, he had no fucking financial training whatsoever. He was completely unqualified. If this was a legitimate insurance sales job, wouldn't they want to make sure that you were an actual good salesperson prior to? Wouldn't they want to make sure that you knew a little bit about what you were doing and selling first? No, bro, when you go to a WFG meeting, you've already got the job before you've even acquired your license. Welcome to the team, brother. Big things. So this is where he's going to try to make the false equivalence and say that, see, WFG is not an MLM, it's an insurance company. This would be like a girl who sells Monat saying, I'm in the hair care industry. No, you're not.
Even recruiting businesses. So that's how John feels about the insurance industry as well.
No, it's not how he feels.
Number 3, the third red flag, and let's read this together. Pay-to-play requirements are met by ongoing incentivized purchases with participants the primary buyer.
I know what he's going to say. He's going to say, well, real estate people, they have to get licensed before they become a realtor, don't they?
Are distributors who are recruited presented with significant pay-to-play options? Are they encouraged to make initial or ongoing investments in incentivized purchases in order to take advantage of the business opportunity and to continue qualifying for advancement and overrides bonuses from the MLM company? So obviously, starting with MLMs, they do have those requirements. So basically, if you build a big organization but you stop personally purchasing products, you have the potential of possibly losing your overrides and your bonuses. Now, if you...
Same thing in WFG. In WFG, don't take my word for it. Let's look at the fucking compensation plan. Look, average earnings, highest earnings, blah, blah, blah. Look, I mean, this is their clever way of drawing the symbols outward as opposed to downwards so that they say it's not a pyramid. It's just a horizontal line, etc. But obviously you can tell these are pyramids. Look, okay, so here, to become a SMD, senior marketing, executive marketing director, CEO marketing director, associate marketing director, also LOL, CEO marketing director, as though recruiting people makes you a CEO. CEO is a salaried position of a legitimate corporation, not a rank that some 19-year-old kid has because he got a bunch of people under him. So look how convoluted this is, right? You need to have been in for 3 months to be a marketing director, okay? You need 3 direct associates, so 3 directs, 3 recruits. You need 5 licensed, okay? You need 40,000 base shop net points. This already should be a huge red flag. Real companies are concerned with making money. Money, not points. So when you have this convoluted system where, well, this service, when you buy it, it correlates to this many points, and this many points correlates to your rank, and your rank correlates to this bonus, it's just to distract you and confuse you so that you don't actually see how much of a scam this whole fucking thing is. Look at senior marketing director. 3 direct legs. 1 direct leg must be MD level 17. Is this a fucking video game? Am I playing Assassin's Creed Origins right now? You need 10 licensed associates in your organization, 6 life licensed, meaning they have the life insurance license. Production, you need 75,000 base net points. Cash flow, $35,000 in 12 months or $20,000 in 6 months. Or to meet these qualifications, you need to have a rolling time of 12 months or a production of 25,000 base net points or a cash flow of 35,000 in 12 months or 20,000 in 6 months. And on and on and on it goes. So, I mean,
look into the insurance world, that doesn't really take place, but it's kind of open to opportunity and to continue qualifying for advancement.
So yeah, sorry, this is the point I was making. So your associates, your recruits are obviously going to be buying the product, right? So here's the actual point correlations, right? So basis points, training associate 30. I mean, look how confusing this is. Your positive points and any negative points generated as internal corrections such as blah, blah, blah points. Net points is the sum of your total points, positive and negative. Oh, there's negative points too. I mean, imagine actually trying to fucking figure out how much money you made with this convoluted table. In a regular job, you think, how much do I get paid an hour? How many hours did I work? Boom, that's about how much I made. Look at this. Well, I'm a 3rd generation with 5 base points and 4 fixed other points. Like, what? What? Super base, Nicki Minaj, super base. Commission bonus pool, 30%. I mean, again, so the people who are joining are the people who are also buying the product. And you're not just buying the product one time. I know McKenzie is going to try to make this point now where he says, well, in other companies, it's the workforce that's buying the product over and over again. That's not what we do in insurance. Yeah, but in WFG, if you're signed up for the insurance product that you sell so that each month you have those points, in your calculation or whatever, you're still buying it every month. You're still paying every month into that insurance. And Eli in the chat, who was on the first episode of Multi-Level Misery, can attest to that. Your upline who recruits you wants you, needs you to buy the insurance as well, because it will contribute to their points. And you want to help them, don't you? We're doing this together, right? Because now when you recruit someone, they're going to buy from you in the circle of life, the triangle of life.
And overrides bonuses from the MLM company. So obviously, starting with MLMs, they do have those requirements. So basically, if you build a big organization, but you stop personally purchasing products, you have the potential of possibly losing your overrides and your bonuses.
This is a skill tree in a video game, totally. A pay-to-win game, but you never win, right? It's amazing how so many people are upset about like video game loot boxes and pay-to-win shit in kids' games, and yet MLMs are still fucking allowed. Imagine sitting down with your GM at a restaurant and he pulls out this compensation plan before you start your dishwashing shift. Right? Super based bonus pool. I'm definitely part of that one. Hilarious.
Now, if you look into the insurance world, that doesn't really take place. But it's kind of open to debate. So I'm going to ask you the question, because a lot of times you'll see people say, well, you have to pay to join that company. And that's kind of true.
Here we go.
So there are requirements by the state and federal government when you come into financial services and into real estate where you have to have a license. So you've got to go.
That's not a pay to join the company, okay? Getting your real estate license. See, he's going to try to make this distraction, this false equivalence. In World Financial Group, yes, you have to pay to get your license from the state. That has nothing to do with WFG. That's a state license to make sure that they've done their background checks on you and you're qualified to sell a very sensitive product, life insurance. It's very serious, right? It's worth millions potentially. You get your license from the state, but when you join a company like WFG, they pressure you to also buy the product, okay? That's not real estate. In real estate, yes, you do have to get licensed and you have to pay for the license, but when you join a brokerage, you don't have to buy a house from the person who brought you into the brokerage. That's the key difference. You don't have to have X amount of houses sold to your downline of realtors in order to make 40,000 customer points in order to earn a $300 bonus. No, realtors actually sell things.
Go through background checks. You've got to be able to pass the exam with the state where you go down into a facility. You actually take the test with them. It's not something you can just take at home. There's actually somebody who's
Hey, thank you, Ed Tyler. Thank you, Jared, dropping the link. Thank you.
watching over you. In some states you can take it home, but there is somebody who's actually proctoring that, so you can't cheat on it. And
He would be right if when your company required a degree, you had to get your degree from them. Great point.
being able to pass the background to be able to come into the industry.
Thank you, Snowy. You also don't have to recruit other real estate agents. Yep.
Then you have to get appointed with the companies to be able to offer products and services, so they do additional backgrounds on you to make sure everything's okay. So all of that is a requirement to get into both the insurance and the real estate industry. Now, where the question comes is, in both of those, depending if you're a broker, maybe on the real estate side, is oftentimes you have to carry things like errors and omissions insurance, where basically if you accidentally mark something down wrong, maybe a weight, or you transpose some numbers as a social security number goes, so it was an accident, you have that insurance to cover you. Now, obviously, if it's material where you did it on purpose, where you're trying to purchase a policy for somebody who doesn't exist or doesn't want one, obviously you're going to get in trouble for that. So is that pay to play? In both of these categories, I would say no, but obviously you have to have some skin in the game. You've got to get a license to be able to do it, which I think also sets those industries apart from a traditional MLM, where there's no real requirement or stipulation. You recruit anybody to get into the industry, regardless of their background, criminal records.
As I predicted, he's going to try to differentiate and legitimize his MLM compared to other MLMs, because, well, for our MLM, you need to get a state license. They wouldn't give us a license if we were a scam, would they? Anyone can get licensed. He's saying that, like, oh, those other MLMs, they'll just recruit anyone. Yeah, but anyone can also get licensed. So long as you don't have a criminal, you haven't killed somebody. How is it any fucking different? My friend who was 18 when he joined World Financial Group had no qualifications. He worked construction with his dad prior to that. And he worked at a Panago Pizza making pizza. It's the same shit. Just because there's one extra step in between, which is getting your license, it doesn't change the fact that they're recruiting anybody off the fucking street.
Those kinds of things. So then my question here kind of becomes on the real estate side, do you consider having to be on the MLS as part of pay to play? So if you want to be able to sell homes,
No, I don't consider having to pay brokers fees or office fees or licensing fees as a realtor to be an MLM, because in real estate, you may have to pay office fees when you join a brokerage, but chances are that brokerage is how you got the listing to begin with. People are not going to buy a house from somebody who's just not associated with any brokerage, who's like, yeah, I'm a realtor, I'll sell it. It's like an actual organization. Okay? And again, real estate brokerages are making their money, and realtors are making their money from selling houses, not from recruiting more realtors who buy houses from them.
and you want to be able to find homes on the MLS for your buyer.
I did change my merch, alwaysmarcomerch.com. Got the new anti-pyramid shirts in multiple colors, the mugs, and the phone cases. So very exciting stuff. Go check that out. Link in the description.
You have to pay a couple $100s a month to be able to stay on that platform. Now, to me, I think that's just part of business. You have business expenses. If you look at a business like a McDonald's, they are purchasing meats and burgers and lettuce and fry oil and all of those things. That's not really pay to play to me. But if you don't have any of those things, obviously you're not going to be able to do much in business.
Obviously, another false equivalence. He's right. That's not pay to play. Every legitimate business has costs associated with it. But whether those costs are actually a fundamental necessary part of running the business, like McDonald's, you couldn't sell a Big Mac without bread and meat and lettuce and sauce and whatever, cheese. Otherwise, you're just selling nothing. Right? So you actually need those things. Those are not like those are not pay to play. Pay to play means it's to the recruits, it's to the employees. Pay to play in McDonald's would be if every day the fry cook at McDonald's or the cashier had to buy a Big Mac every day. That would be pay to play.
Business, but different from what they're talking about in pay to play.
Spec says, I put gas in my car on my way to work yesterday. I can't believe I've been lied to my whole life. Thank you, Marco, for breaking me out of this MLM matrix. I got you, Specs.
Of a multi-level marketing where
Overhead equals pay to play in his mind, right?
you have to purchase products to be able to keep your position, which you pay to play to me. But if you don't have any of those things, obviously you're not going to be able to do much in business. But different from what they're talking about in pay to play of multi-level marketing, where you have to purchase products to be able to keep your position, which you don't in the other three. And number 4 red flag.
True. The other 3 being insurance, business, the other shit he said, real estate. But that's not what he's in. He keeps trying to distract you and go, so he's saying something which is objectively true, right? Which is MLM industry and insurance industry are not the same thing. And then he's basically saying WFG sells insurance, so actually WFG is in the insurance industry, not the MLM industry, so we're not an MLM. That is where he's deceiving us.
Flag, let's read this together. The MLM company pays commissions and bonuses on more distributor levels than are functionally justified, and it uses i.e. about the number of 5, right? He said you could justify around 5. So let's go back to that. So one of the challenges with multi-level marketing, or one of the 5 levels, then are justify around 5. So let's go back to that. So one of the challenges with multi-level marketing, or one of the benefits that they have, is that you get paid regardless of how far that person might be down the recruiting stream from you. The challenge with that is it's almost unlimited. So the idea becomes it's almost easier to recruit somebody and keep recruiting than it is necessarily to have them sell product.
Exactly. Which is why they talk about tap rooting and all this shit, which is why also the World Financial Group, oh fuck, I accidentally closed it. One second. World Financial Group, I gotta open that up again. Which is why that fast start guide that we saw a moment ago doesn't talk about business at all. It talks about recruiting. WFG fast start guide, or system, what was it called? System start guide? Sorry, I want to show you that again to back up my point. This is their own document. This is not an outside source here. This is not an outside source of propaganda, which is someone's opinion. This is their own document from their own company. And what are the chapters? Prospecting, approach, contact, presentation, follow-up, startup, duplication. Let's jump to duplication. Thank you, by the way, whoever ordered from the merch store just now. I appreciate that. Let's go to page 46 here. Is it going to let me? No, all good. 46, here. Duplication, LOL, all these businessmen on a rock. The Matrix, literally, Agent Smith. The purpose of duplication. Duplication helps an associate build a business, aka recruit, by following a system through which recruiting and building new leaders never stops.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors.
Ed Tyler, thank you, bro. So look, in their own document, it says, the purpose of duplication. Duplication helps an associate build a business. Again, it's not building a business because no business is actually happening, and you don't actually own it because you're just a contractor. You don't own anything. Thank you, Snowy. Appreciate you. Inshallah, the masses watch it. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. Building a business by following a system through which recruiting and building new leaders never stops. If that is not the endless chain recruiting model, what the fuck does that mean then? That never stops. If the cashier at McDonald's had to buy a Big Mac every day and renew their McBurger flipping license with their manager, and those were $500 a month, but they were paid $100 exactly. I'm not in an MLM scam. Symphony music plays in the background. Yeah. Yep. Fighting them with their own words. Absolutely. Okay, here. Why duplication? To build a business that enables you to achieve your dreams. Better Business Bureau. I'm going to send this to the Better Business Bureau because that, to me, would be a dishonest earnings claim or a dishonest earnings potential claim because 99% failure rate doesn't exactly correlate to helping you achieve your dreams unless your dream is to live in a fucking cardboard box on the side of the road. Duplicate yourself to multiply your impact through ever-increasing numbers of successful leaders. Well, I have a whole video about why making money in an MLM is impossible because if you recruit 5 people who recruit 5 people who recruit 5 people, that cycle can only go 13 times before you've exceeded the population of the entire planet. With everything you do, you must keep in mind that you need to implement easily duplicated systems, blah, blah, blah. Wow, key components of duplication. Develop a marketing, i.e. recruiter's mentality. Develop their mindset, basically the same thing. Don't quit, aka keep spending money. People have a survival phase as they get their business up and running, meaning they're losing money, but you need to keep them losing money for as long as possible. Wow, I need to save this so that I can send this to the Better Business Bureau and the FTC. The power of duplication requires a blueprint that's easy to follow. Most people have heard the acronym KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Wow, in an official document. A marketing or recruiter's mentality. I mean, bro, none of this is about look for quantity, get quality. It's a state of mind. Recruiting is an all-the-time thing. Really? I thought this was a great part-time opportunity. What does this have to do? It's the law of averages, the law of high numbers. The more people engaged on your team, the higher likelihood of finding superstars. Dude, recruiting in waves. Go wide fast. A system to handling large recruiting numbers. Aim at recruits, hit sales. Aim at recruits and hit sales. From a company who claims to be a sales company. Wow, dude. I actually think the Better Business Bureau and the FTC would be really interested in this. And I never actually took it upon myself to report WFG. Even though I've made 3 videos about them, I've never actually taken it upon myself to report WFG to either of those entities. So I think that's going to be on my to-do list for this week upcoming here. Yeah, McKenzie said he flopped on the debate because you didn't sign an agreement. Yeah, that's true. If you go back to the beginning of this stream, I actually showed the contract, the gentleman's agreement that he wanted me to sign, which was fucking bullshit. Sunk cost fallacy moment, yep. I saw a Primerica guy on IG flexing, reminded me of the maker of taste. So whack, yep. Hey, man. Hey, Specs, if you saw that, you know, I definitely implore you to screenshot that and send it to the Better Business Bureau and the make a report to the FTC. You guys, if you see any MLM company making false earnings claims, I highly encourage you to report it to the FTC, because they are the ones with the power to actually do something, and they don't have enough people to find this stuff out on their own. Especially consider the FTC only has like, I think 2,000 people that work there. Do you think that there's somebody from the FTC sitting and watching Instagram stories every day and screenshotting the violations? No. That's why they need people. That's why we need to do stuff. That's why we need to actually be active in this, because those Instagram stories where they're flexing and saying you can make $10,000 a month and all this shit, they disappear after 24 hours. So unless we, the people, catch it and report it, you know, they're not going to do anything. Because if no one's reporting it, if no one's complaining about it, why would they ever do anything? You know, it's like if there was a fire on in your neighborhood and a house was burning down, but nobody called the fire department, they wouldn't come. So we have to alert the people who can actually do something. Okay? Aim for recruits, and even if you miss, you'll land among the sales. Wow. Are you recruiting us in the FTC pyramid scheme, RN? You got it. You got it. They're paying me to say that, for sure.
Because they are in turn purchasing the products, and you're making money on everybody that you recruit that buys products. So looking at insurance and real estate, both of those industries have usually 5, 6, or 7 layers of ways that it's be able to pay out into those industries. However, it's not infinite. They've justified those numbers. And then looking into businesses are usually going to have 5 or 6 layers of distribution in that channel. So
there's the manager, there's the assistant manager, there's the cashier, there's the janitor.
So even though there's the sales guy who's doing the connection with the customer, oftentimes there's going to be multiple layers of people who are paid above that. It's going to be their direct managers, then maybe the regional, the general managers.
Yep, and those people are paid either through salary or hourly, and regardless, they are paid with money generated from an outside market. In a real business, money comes into the business's account from customers and then gets dispersed from the business account to the employees or the staff. In MLM, the money comes from the different layers of people in the company paying it to the company. Okay?
Whatever it might be up into that scale. So it's limited as for businesses as well. And number 5.
This guy thinks he's dropping bars and being so like, he really thought he did something with this video, being so professional and being like, well, his presentation was good, I'm not going to lie, but he's wrong.
Red flag of a multi-level marketing or pyramid scheme is going to be company payout in commissions and bonuses per sale for the total of all upline participants together equals or exceeds that for the person selling the product, resulting in inadequate incentive to retail and excessive incentive to recruit. So obviously looking at the multi-level marketing side, one of the big challenges they have is that there's more of a requirement to recruit somebody than there is to actually sell something. They're going to be purchasing products and services as well.
What's that, McKenzie? What's that, McKenzie? Recruiting and building new leaders that never stops? Ever increasing number of successful leaders? Recruiting is an all the time thing? Aim for recruits, hit sales?
As well. Now, as you come into the insurance and the real estate side, I put both of these in yellow because there are some circumstances, maybe, where it could come up where the payout for the uplines ends up being more than the new individual. And oftentimes this could happen because there's already
There is no uplines in real estate and insurance.
Split that's happening between agents and brokers, but sometimes if the broker comes in, especially for the first couple of sales, whether you're in insurance or in real estate, because that person doesn't know how to do anything. So oftentimes the broker will have to come in and do all that work. Now, in some cases, in some companies, they will do what's called a split. So
what he's referring to is like if you're a new realtor, you might share a listing with a more senior realtor who knows what they're doing, and you work on it together as part of your like training, but you're still getting compensated and you're still not having to pay into it.
Maybe if they were on a 50-50 and they were both going to get paid the same, or 70-30, but now the broker is going to do half of that commission as well, it could potentially put either one of these into a position where...
Who's worse, him or Izzo? I would say, You know what? It's actually tough because with Dominic Izzo has a personality where he's this villain character, and it might be easier for the layman to not trust him. But this guy does a really good job at coming off as trustworthy and logical. So I think this might actually be more dangerous.
Maybe if they were on a 50-50 and they were both going to get paid the same, or 70-30, but now the broker is going to do half of that commission as well, it could potentially put either one of these into a position where they could be making more than the person who's actually making the sale because they're still in that training process. They don't know how to do all the work. So
that's normal.
Oftentimes that broker or that experienced person is coming in, and oftentimes, at least from what I see, they do all of the work while that new person is basically learning the process. Now, once that new person understands the process and starts producing, they don't need the broker or that trained person to come in and do
that's normal.
that anymore, so they don't need to split those sales. So I put those in yellow because in both scenarios, it could happen. It's usually pretty rare, and you don't want your person to be there very long anyway because they need to make money, and so you don't want to be in that type of position. You want them making money. However, if you're doing all of the work, sometimes you might take a split on that commission.
Work, something multi-level marketing people know nothing about.
And then coming into business, I put this in red because this is how it's been true in every single business that I've been in, especially when I was in the car industry. You would see those guys who were selling cars, they make
Wow. Of course he was a car salesman.
$100 or $200 on selling the car. Now, I don't know how much the company makes, and I don't know how much the managers make, and I don't know how much everybody above them makes, but I'm guessing it's more than $200 combined. So I would say a lot of time in these instances, like how many plates of food does that server serve or sell, if you will, that the company probably makes lots of money off of, that the managers make money off of, all the people who were involved in that actual sale, they probably make more than that person did at what they would make off of tips or whatever it might be.
What a stupid fucking thing to say. What a stupid fucking comparison to make. Oh, well, the server at a restaurant who makes the sale of the food probably doesn't make as much as the manager. Yeah, bro, because the server isn't the one who assumed the financial burden of paying the overhead to fucking begin with. That's one of the benefits of being the owner, is you get the biggest slice of the pie because you're taking the biggest risk. You are not a replaceable figure in that business structure. A server probably doesn't make as much money. They could with the tips, but they probably don't make as much money as the owner off their base salary or hourly wage because they are, in terms of value, not as valuable in that system. You could go find servers. They're not hard to find. They get paid correlated to the value they provide. And yeah, they do provide a lot of value, but they're also very replaceable. So, of course, servers are the ones driving the sales. Sales are the most important part of any business. It would be nice if servers got paid more, but then prices would just fucking go up anyways. But that does not equate to a scam of some kind, that the owner of a restaurant got more money from the transaction than the server. It also doesn't correlate to being a scam if you say that the owner or the manager of the car dealership got more money off the sale of the car than the salesperson. Yeah, you know why? Because the owner is also responsible for buying more cars, buying more stock. Just like the restaurant owner is responsible for buying more ingredients and paying the lease and paying the cleaning staff and paying all the staff and, buying more wine and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Of course. The business wouldn't be able to function if the server kept 80% of the sale or whatever the profit, actual margin, the cost on it was. If the server sells a fucking plate of steak and potatoes and it's $50 and the server is just getting paid hourly, that makes more sense, because if the server sold the $50 plate of steak and potatoes and they got $30, there just wouldn't be enough money left to continue the business. Like, the business would not make money. Restaurant business already is hard enough. So this is a really stupid thing to say, in my opinion. Really stupid thing to say.
For their job. So I would say most businesses are actually structured that way, that the person doing the sales makes a small part of the commission. Even when I was doing service writing at the dealership, I wasn't there very long, but most of the commission was not made by me. I made some of it, but most of the commission was going to be made by the person who was fixing the...
Yeah, because this is obviously something y'all WFG people know nothing about. Running a business costs money.
car, the managers, all the people above them. I got a very, very
And a great point too, Jared. Even in a failing business, the server is still getting paid.
small portion of that, which could still be a good amount of money, but the vast majority of that money was made by the people who were not involved in that sale. And then kind of as we wrap this up,
But they were involved in the sale. Just because they weren't involved in the actual passing of the fucking iPad or the debit machine over, or like, you know, in the restaurant analogy, since he wants to use that, just because the manager or the owner of the restaurant wasn't involved in the actual moment where the server said, okay, that's going to be $100, and made the sale and whatever, doesn't mean they weren't involved in it. If it weren't for the owner's the one that bought all the supplies, hired the person, is responsible for the restaurant being there, all the infrastructure, the entire thing. Nonsense. Nonsense.
I want to point this out to page number 14. I'm going to read this directly here as well. So he's talking about, can't low commissions to frontline distributors be offset by retailing products at marked up retail prices? So what it goes into in the next paragraph is the problem is that suggested retail prices for MLM products are generally too high to be competitive with other outlets. And this is true. If you've ever been approached by somebody from Amway, you can buy bleach from the store for $3, $4, $5.
Here we go. Every MLM I've ever studied picks on Amway specifically. They call it Scamway. I love that he's bringing this up.
He's talking about, can't low commissions to frontline distributors be offset by retailing products at marked up retail prices? So what it goes into in the next paragraph is the problem is that suggested retail prices for MLM products are generally too high to be competitive with other outlets. And
Let me explain this for the lay person out there who doesn't understand what this means. In an MLM, you know, every person in the chain gets a percentage of the sale. The person who actually made the sale, who's lower down on the chain, they get a very small commission, etc., etc., etc. If you're a higher rank, you get a higher commission. But you might be asking, well, how can potentially 10 people all get a cut of one product, a bottle of shampoo, Amway cleaner, etc., etc.? The answer is by simply selling a more expensive product. If you make a bottle of shampoo, which is normally $5 or whatever at a regular grocery store, if you sell a bottle of shampoo now instead for $40, well, now there's more money there for people to take chunks out of, so that all the people in the subsequent chains of the recruiting tree can each get a piece of it. You just make it more expensive. It's like, let me grab my whiteboard. Let me show you this. It's basically this. I remember my teacher in grade 5, he did this riddle. It was like in math class. Ready? He says, okay, Bob and Sarah both have 40% of a pie. Okay? 40%. Oh, fuck, does this marker not work? Woo! Let's grab the blue one here. I'm going to draw this out for you motherfuckers. Ready? 40%. I'm going to give you guys a fucking quiz in the chat that my grade 5 teacher gave me, okay? So, Bob and Sarah both have 40% of a pie. However, Bob has more pie. How is this possible? Go. I'm looking in the comments. I would have so many downline recruits if I was in an MLM. I would crush MLM. So I don't know if you can see that very well. They both have 40% of a pie, okay? They each have their own pie. They each have 40%, but Bob has more. How is that possible? Because Sarah's pie, this is Sarah's pie, okay? Let me draw out a section here that's about 40%. Okay, this is Sarah's 40% right in here, let's say, okay? It's probably not quite 40% here. This is like more like 40%. Okay? So that's Sarah's pie, and this colored in area is the percentage of the pie that she took. Okay? Here's Bob's pie. Bob has 40% of his pie, but the answer is that the volume of his pie is simply bigger. It just simply has a wider circumference. It's a bigger pie. So even though they both have 40% of a pie, right? They each have one pie and they each have 40% of it, but Bob has more. The answer is because Bob's pie is simply bigger. So this relates back to what McKenzie is saying here. He's saying in MLM, where's the fucking eraser? In MLM, the products are more expensive. Of course they're more expensive, because how could you ever manage to pay overrides on 10 levels of recruits and still all of them get a piece of a sale? Well, you just have to make the thing that you're selling more expensive, right? Just make more pieces of it. So he's going to explain here, this is why in whatever, I think he says Amway, the bleach was much more expensive, the cleaner.
This is true. If you've ever been approached by
Yeah, I did pull out a whiteboard.
somebody from Amway, you can buy bleach from the store for $3, $4, $5. But if you buy it through Amway, and I get it, it's a different product. It's something that they made, and I actually even like it. So we purchase some of their stuff. We like their bleach, but it's way more expensive than you could get something comparable. Now they would say, well, they don't use all the chemicals and all those other things. I get it, but if you needed bleach per se, bleach to bleach, there's going to be a difference as far as that goes. And you're going to pay quite a bit more because it's coming through the distribution channel. Now this does not happen in both of insurance and real estate. So in insurance, I can't mark up the products more. I can't mark them down for less. And at least through the distributor we go through, we're the most competitive. Is a disclaimer here. I have come across some companies whose term insurances are very, very expensive.
This is only partially true what he's saying. So a company that resells insurance of another company, like for example, WFG reselling Travelers Insurance and operating as a middleman, they can't raise the price on Travelers Insurance. But if it was their own insurance product, they could absolutely make the price whatever they wanted. The way they get around this is same thing with the pie example that I drew out there. Instead of charging more for the same insurance because you can't increase the price of that insurance, what you could do in his case, or in a WFG case or a Primerica case, what you could do is just sell them more services. So if you can't control the amount, if you can't control the price of any of the services individually, the only thing you can control is how many of those services that you sell. So you'll just sell more. And as Sam and Eli in my multi-level misery series, who are both in Primerica, can attest to, they started buying insurance and investment shit that they didn't even need because it contributed to their points, their personal volume. And same thing with Julie. In episode 2 of Multi-Level Misery, she was in Monat. She talks about she bought the most expensive starter pack, the $500 starter pack, and you just buy more shit.
Because it's a proprietary product and it's the only one they use. They don't offer multiple carriers. So those are oftentimes marked up 2, 3, 4 times as much as it is that I can get somebody on a policy. But whether you got it from me or you got it from the person down the street or a different company, you would pay the same price. It's not anymore because it's through the distribution channel or anything like that. That you don't see it.
LOL. Somebody said, because Bob recruited 5 friends and had a higher commission. LOL. Fry cooks have 40% at McDonald's. Okay. Thank you, Key Singh, for watching.
On a policy, but whether you got it from me or you got it from the person down the street or a different company, you would pay the same price. It's not anymore because it's through the distribution channel or anything like that. That you don't see in insurance or in the real estate side, or quite frankly in business.
Hey, McKenzie, you're not in insurance. You're in multi-level marketing. McKenzie, if you believe so much in your abilities as a insurance salesman, I challenge you to do this. Leave World Financial Group and let me know how successful you are.
Basically what it's saying here is so MLM distributors end up purchasing large quantities for themselves and their families, or they sell those products at wholesale prices to participants. So obviously if you're in insurance or in real estate, you're not buying a bunch of insurance and investment products and keeping them in your garage or homes or those kinds of things.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Now we're fucking cooking. So he's talking about inventory loading. If you're in Monat, if you're in, remember LuLaRoe? Remember the documentary? Women had houses full of LuLaRoe leggings and bullshit products, right? Because each month they need to buy more product in order to keep up their rank, right? MLMs have operated in ways like that where the more you buy, the more you have to keep buying for yourself. And that counts towards your points. LuLaRoe was not supposed to be doing that. And so a rule came into effect where now if you're a LuLaRoe distributor, you can't just simply buy more and more stuff to up your rank. Now the points only come from you selling it, even if you're only selling it to the people in your downline. And when this happened, people in LuLaRoe saw their income from LuLaRoe tank because it was their own purchases that were fueling their bonuses, if that makes sense. You get what I mean? In my opinion, that's obviously super pyramid scheme scam behavior, but even selling it just to your downline is still pyramid scheme shit. It's still a pyramid scheme. So he's talking about inventory loading. This is another reason, LOL, where I pause it. This is another reason why this company is really clever, WFG Primerica. It's another reason why they are really clever with their MLM, because from the point of view of a recruit, let's say you're a recruit, right? From your point of view, maybe you're signed up for multiple different financial products or services that you don't necessarily need, but those are invisible things. Nobody has ever held insurance in their hand. It's invisible. It's a paper that you signed, and it just is money that comes out of your bank account, but it's not taking up space in your garage. However, if you're still paying for it each month and you're a recruit, that is still internal consumption. ACN was the same thing. People might not be so inclined to buy a new shampoo from somebody than the one they're used to, especially if they know they're going to end up filling their garage with shampoo. But with ACN, you're buying things like phone plans, electricity, home services. So these are things that you can't, like I said in the video, these are things that are not visually distinguishable from another brand's equivalent product. So as long as it's cheaper, presumably people should be okay with switching over. But because you are buying it month after month, you are still internally, because you're part of the company, you're part of the internal structure of the company, consumption. You're still internally consuming.
Hoping that you can sell them to other people so they don't have that distribution where you have to buy stuff or you're trying to sell it at different prices to different people, or you've got to collect a bunch of it so that you can hopefully turn around.
Auto ship, exactly. WFG is legitimate because they're not making money off the books, tapes, and functions. And yeah, there you go. There you go.
And resell.
Also, WFG is really clever too, because I realized that I had never been able to find an income disclosure for World Financial Group. And the reason for this, according to one Reddit thread that I saw, is that insurance companies don't actually have to release income disclosures. So this would be a very, very clever, another very clever reason why if you were going to run an MLM, you should do it under the guise of an insurance company, because you wouldn't have to reveal your 99% loss rate as transparently as a company like Monat. Monat, you can easily find their income disclosure by Googling it. Here's their website, Monat Global, Canada, let's use the US, US income disclosure statement. And it's right there for you on their website. Whoops, that page redirected. Here, let's use this one. Here we go. Percent of active market partners at this rank, 96.6% earned an average of $22 a year. Average number of months to achieve the rank, 6. You know, I'm going to get back to this in a second, but let's finish McKensy's video here.
And again, this ties it back into the pay-to-play aspect. All right, whew, that was a lot of information. I know this video got a little bit long, so I hope that was helpful for you and you got a lot of information about those.
I hope I confused you and duped you into thinking that what I do is legit. Definitely go into the description and click the thing that says, do you want to be coached by me? And, you know, join my WFG downline.
Different industries and how insurance and real estate works if you're looking at getting into those industries, and how they are different from the MLM industry, and really the classifications that they fall into, because that's usually where people are very deceptive about, especially if they have their own brokerage, and they'll say, well, you don't want to be a part of that company because they're a multi-level marketing company or whatever it might be, and obviously then they're trying to recruit you into their IMO or their brokerage so that you can go work with them. So at least this way you have all the information to be able.
Yeah, everyone who's telling you that a certain company, everyone who's telling you WFG or Primerica is a pyramid scheme or an MLM, Don't worry, they're just trying to get you to join their business instead. Don't listen to them.
To assess those companies. I mentioned a bunch of them through this video. And if this was helpful for you, make sure you smash the like button and also hit the subscribe as well.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so let me go back to this. So we finished with McKensy. I hope you all enjoyed that or learned something from it. Let me see what you all are saying here. I just realized MLMs do pay for marketing. Their annual multi-million-dollar conventions, which the reps all have to pay a lot for too, is a form of marketing. Bro, those conventions, people be, you know, those are stadiums that can fit 20,000 people. Okay, the tickets are anywhere between $300 and $500. So if there's 20,000 people that all paid $300, that's $6 million, more than enough to rent the event and also earn a profit from the event for the people at the top of the company who are essentially acting as the concert promoter for that. So let me show you something. This is something that I, going back over some notes in the book Ponzi-nomics by Robert Fitzpatrick, I picked up on something, okay? So check this out. This is the Monat. Let me make this bigger for you guys so you can see it. Okay, so here we go. From bottom to the highest rank, senior executive director, it's 0.002% of people in the company that actually earned that rank, and the average earnings for them were $70,000 per month, and the number of months it took to achieve that rank on average was 22 months, so almost 2 years, okay, the median being 18. So let's look at this bottom rank for a second. Of all active and inactive market partners at this rank, 96.6% lost money. Scroll down. The figures are not guarantees or projections of your actual earnings or profits. The above figures only include bonuses, commissions, or other remuneration paid to market partners by Monat. They do not take into consideration expenses incurred by market partners in operating their business or profit or loss when products are sold by market partners. Expenses incurred in operating an independent Monat business may include, but are not limited to, the purchase of the starter kit. Let's check that. Payment of renewal fees. Check that. Purchases of product samples or inventories, shipping costs, transportation costs, training and educational expenses, and travel expenses. In some cases, these costs and expenses may exceed the amount earned. So this is saying how much money, average monthly gross. You know the word gross means the money that you got before you deduct your expenses. That would be your net. So this is the amount of money that 96% of people in Monat are bringing in on an average month. 96%. But it doesn't include the costs, which are obviously higher than $22 per month. So this number is obviously way closer to 99%. Now, also factor in, and I went over this exact spreadsheet, I guess, with Julie in MLM Misery episode 2. Number 3 coming out on Patreon this Sunday. So hit the Patreon if you want to get that early, because it'll be public on Monday. That number, that 96, also doesn't take into account the fact that if you... So that number, that 96%, is actually boosted because it includes the people who are at the very tippy top who are earning this crazy amount. If you got rid of the people at this top rank, who are usually the same people in the company year after year, that number goes even above 99%. Okay? Now here's the other thing that I wanted to highlight, which I didn't do a very good job of in the... I should have shown this in my video called Why Making Money in an MLM is Impossible, but I didn't. So let me do it now. Check this out. It's gross what I net, Drake, yep. So check this out. Oh, appreciate you, Kiva. Yep, join the Discord. The recruiters pay for the marketing to keep them inside. Okay, check this out. So, here's what I want to show y'all, okay? Let me turn this up. Can y'all hear me good still? Okay. So check this out. I'm going to draw you a new diagram to make this point, okay? So, we know that 99% of people in MLMs lose money, right? So, say we got one guy at the top. It's my little stick man. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 people under him. Okay, so there's 5. You know, let these circles represent 5 people. Okay, and those 5 people all get 5 people, 5 people, 5 people, 5 and 5. So now we have a ton of people in the company, and then these people also get 5 people, and blah blah blah. Now we have 100 people. I'm just keeping this simple, okay? So 100 people in a company, right? We know based on the math that only this guy up here is actually making money. Just the one guy, right? Only one guy is actually making anything. So from a year-to-year basis, the thing that these income disclosures don't really show you very well, you would have to dig into the actual financial statements of an MLM, is that, so for example, in a financial disclosure, not an income disclosure, but a financial like statement from an MLM company, oftentimes what you will see is they'll say how many recruits or how many representatives they started the year off with. Let's say it's 100,000, right? And then it'll say at the end of the year how many recruits they had, and usually it's the same. But then there's another thing that says how many we recruited this year, and it might be something like 50,000. So there was 100,000 people at the company when it started at the beginning of 2021, and they recruited 50,000 people, but at the end of the year they still only had 100,000 people. What happened? It means 50,000 people who were there before left, and they were replaced by 50,000 new ones. That's an example that's actually very generous, because actually the way it usually goes is they'll start with 100,000 people, they'll recruit 100,000 people, and they'll still be back at the same number at the end of the year, 100,000 people, because virtually all of them leave. Because how long are you going to stay in a company where you're losing money? People got to go back to work. People are going to go, what, you want them to stay here and go fucking homeless? So that's what this doesn't show very well, okay? So this is showing for 1 year. But here's what I'm going to try to detail to you. So let's say this represents the amount of people in a company in 1 year. It could be 10,000, and the top 1% is 100 people, right? 1% of 10,000 is 100, right? 100 times, yes, okay. Or 100,000 people, and the top 1% is 1,000 people. You get me. For the sake of simplicity, let's just say that this hypothetical company we're dealing with has 100 people, okay? We know 99% are gonna lose money, which means only 1%, one guy up here made money, okay? Now, to keep it consistent with the actual numbers of MLM companies, all these people in this bottom 99, they're gonna leave. So these bottom 99% of people are not in the company the next year. But the guy who made money, who's at the top, he's gonna stay because he made money. So the CEO, look at any MLM. Usually the CEO has been the CEO for a long time, and before he was the CEO, his dad was the CEO, etc., etc. So now, let me grab a paper towel, hold on. So this is what I'm trying to show you. So now, this 99% of people, these 99 people, they're gone, right? We're all on the same page? So they're gone. So if I was to ask you, what percentage of people lost? You would say 99%. You'd be correct. So that makes us think that out of every 100 people, only one makes money, right? Not exactly. Now it's the next year. It's year 2 of this company, right? The guy on the top is the same guy. He gets 5 people, those 5 people get 5 people, etc. And we have the same diagram as before. So now there's a new 100 people. It's a new year, right? We know 99% are gonna lose money. So now on year 2, all these people are losing money, so they're probably gonna leave. They've been replaced on year 3 by a new 100 people. So year 2, 100 people lost money again, only one guy made money, right? So still 99% lost, but how many people have lost money now? 200. 198. Right? Because in year 1, 99 people lost. So they fucked off. Now it's year 2. It's a new 99 people. Those people also lost. So they fuck off. So now we've actually had, did you get the point I'm making? The point I'm making here is that we know the loss rates for one calendar year in an MLM are 99%. Like this Monat income disclosure shows, LOL with this whiteboard. This Monat income disclosure shows us 96% before costs, before expenses. So 99%, okay? But that's only for one calendar year. So when all these people leave and a new 99 people come and join, those people are also going to lose money. And it repeats year after year after year after year. So with this example I'm giving here, let's extrapolate this out for 5 years, okay? 5 years, and every year, 99% of people lose money. The 99, year after year, a new 99, year after year after year, lose money, right? What's 99 times 5? 495. So after 5 years, 495 people have lost money and one person has made money. You can obviously scale this up, right? Like MLMs usually have way more people. So you could say like the top 100 people made money and 9,900 people lost money. You could scale it up. I'm just keeping it for simplicity's sake, right? So in the course of 1 year, 99% of people will lose money. But over the course of 5 years, if we just use this example of there's always 100 people in the company, 495 people have lost, and only one person, 99 times 5. Yeah, 495 people have lost money, and only one person has made money. So what's the percentage of that? 1 over 100, we know what that is. That's 1%. What's 1 over 495? I'll tell you. Over the course of 5 years, it's 0.002%. So even, this is the point I'm trying to make, is even saying that 99% of people lose money in an MLM is way too low of an estimation, because the 99% loss rate is only based on a single year's income disclosure. You get what I mean? Is this a stream training video? The whiteboard is cracking me up. I feel like I'm in a Zoom call. Marco turned into Katie Porter. I'm not sure who that is. Ah, man. Y'all are hilarious. This is how WFG training sessions were like. Is this a training video on how to become SMD? Yeah, suck my dick. Can I get my blue jacket from Marco? Yes. Yes, you can. Inverted triangle. Yes. Sorry to hear that you have ligma, Steven. What up, Kinka? Kinka agrees. Yeah. My emblem is different. Vampire shit. Anyways, you guys get my point. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Thank you for y'all. Thank you for the $3. And thank you for the super chats to those of you that dropped super chats. It's obviously not reflected by that Streamlabs link up there, even though it would be nice to have some more Streamlabs bags. Okay, that's all. I'm going to end it so that people that are watching this back don't have such a huge video to watch. And I'm going to go eat pizza with my nieces. I hope you learned something, and we will be back tomorrow night. Peace out.
Marco.
You're wrong. You're fucking
He's beginning to believe.
Billions and billions. Because you'd be in jail.
That you had
Thanks, Marco.
you
Gotcha.
could you
I'm
do
not
you
a
wi-
loser.
you want you could do so you
Thank you,
you
Skel.
want-
Appreciate you
want
guys.
him to do you so much.
Thank you,
could do
Zemzem.
anything.
Ah, shit.
SKIIBOOSKIII.
Ski, bo, ski. Later, y'all. Where's the...
Later.
Peace out, you guys. Join the Discord. Link in the description. The party never stops. Just because the stream stops, we still be chatting and talking in Discord. So join the Discord. Appreciate y'all. Peace out.